Queensland's devastating floods have hit kitchen tables across the country in a big way. A large increase in fruit and vegetable prices plus the cost of petrol were behind the biggest jump in inflation since 2006. The results saw the Australian dollar hit new 29-year highs, and it's led to more interest rate speculation ahead of next week's Reserve Bank board meeting. Here's finance correspondent Philip Lasker.
Out on the street, they didn't need today's official numbers.
Everything's gone up, bread, milk, all the essentials, everyday living.
10 years ago we were spending $150 on food and now it's $300.
The heavy discounting in clothing shops where prices barely rose and the strong Australian dollar, which makes imports cheaper, didn't stop consumer prices jumping 1.6% during the March quarter, the biggest quarterly rise in almost 5 years. Annual inflation is at a 2-year high above 3%. The impact of extreme weather at home and upheaval in the Middle East trumped the shopping bargains.
Key contributors were a big jump in flood-induced rise in fruit and vegetable prices, plus we saw increased petrol prices.
Certainly Treasurer Wayne Swan blamed Mother Nature.
Today's figures show an unsurprising spike in inflation caused by the summer floods and, of course, cyclone Yasi.
The Australian Bureau of Statistics says that some of this increase is related to Yasi and the floods. Not all of it, some of it.
The cost of pharmaceuticals and financial services was also up strongly.
The Reserve Bank meets to consider interest rates next week, but nobody expects them to go up then. The question is, do today's inflation numbers bring forward what many see as an inevitable interest rate hike?
Within the numbers, the Reserve Bank's inflation measure, underlying inflation, is still within its comfort zone, but it is picking up.
Higher interest rates in Australia are still very much on the agenda, and today is the start of the turn in Australian inflation.
We've been looking for 2 rate hikes this year. What we've seen today makes me a little bit more comfortable that might actually happen.
No doubt adding to the discomfort of households across the country. Philip Lasker, ABC News.
And Philip Lasker joins me now in the studio. So, Phil, how worried should we be that inflation's going to take off like a rocket again?
Well, a little more worried than we were yesterday. The Reserve Bank, as was said, meets next week. It's going to be interesting to see how they interpret this inflation reading. They were expecting a spike. This spike is bigger than they were expecting. They expect food prices to unwind as Queensland recovers. The oil situation is a little more problematic because nobody knows how the Middle East is going to unfold. But it certainly makes us more sensitive to any information on inflation we get in coming weeks and less relaxed about the prospect for interest rates and interest rates hikes.
Philip Lasker, thank you.
Thanks.